In his Anuvriti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes that our material identification creates three kinds of urges: the urge to speak, the urge or demands of the mind, and the demands of the body. When a living entity falls victim to these three types of urges, his life becomes inauspicious. One who practices resisting these demands or urges is called tapasvi, or one who practices austerities. By such tapasya, one can overcome victimization by the material energy, the external potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we refer to the urge to speak, we refer to useless talking such as that of the impersonal Mayavadi philosophers or of persons engaged in fruitive activities, technically called karmakanda, or of materialistic people who simply want to enjoy life without restriction. All such talks or literatures are practical exhibitions of the urge to speak. Many people are talking nonsensically and writing volumes of useless books. And all of this is the result of the urge to speak. To counteract this tendency, we have to divert our talking to the subject of Krishna. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 10 and 11.
न यद्वचश्चित्रपदं हरेर्यशो जगत्पवित्रं प्रगृणीत कर्हिचित् तद्वायसं तीर्थमुशन्ति मानसा न यत्र हंसा विरमन्त्युशिक्षकाः.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there.
तद्वाग् विसर्गो जनताघ विप्लवो यस्मिन् प्रतिश्लोकमबद्धवत्यपि नामान्यनन्तस्य यशोऽङ्कितानि यत् शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्ति साधवः.
On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. The conclusion is that only when we talk about devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can we refrain from useless, nonsensical talk. We should always endeavor to use our speaking power solely for the purpose of realizing Krishna consciousness. As for the agitations of the flickering mind, they are divided into two divisions. The first is called Avirodha Priti, or unrestricted attachment, and the other is called Virodha Yukta Krodha, anger arising from frustration. Adherence to the philosophy of the Mayavadis, belief in the fruitive results of the Karmavadis, and belief in plans based on materialistic desires are called Avirodha Priti. Jnanis, karmis, and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of conditioned souls. But when the materialists cannot fulfill their plans and when their devices are frustrated, they become angry. Frustration of material desires produces anger. Similarly, the demands of the body can be divided into three categories: the demands of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. One may observe that these three senses are physically situated in a straight line as far as the body is concerned, and that the bodily demands begin with the tongue. If one can restrain the demands of the tongue by limiting its activities to the eating of prasada, the urges of the belly and the genitals can automatically be controlled. In this connection, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura says,
शरीर अविद्या जल जडेन्द्रियता है काल जीवे फेले विषय सागरे तार मध्ये जिह्वा अति लोभमय सुदुर्मति ताके जेता कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ दयामय करिबारे जिह्वा जये स्वप्रसाद अन्न दिल भाई सेई अन्नामृत खावो राधा कृष्ण गुण गावो प्रेम डाक चैतन्य निताई.
O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, but you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. you have sent this nice prasada to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take this prasada to our full satisfaction and glorify your lordships, Sri Sri, Radha and Krishna, and in love call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. There are 6 kinds of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any one of them, he becomes controlled by the urges of the tongue. Some persons are attracted to the eating of meat, fish, crabs, eggs, and other things produced by semina and blood and eaten in the form of dead bodies. Others are attracted by eating vegetables, creepers, spinach, or milk products, but all for the satisfaction of the tongue's demands. Such eating for sense gratification, including the use of extra quantities of spices like chili and tamarind, is to be given up by Krishna-conscious persons. The use of pan, haritaki, betel nuts, various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, coffee and tea is indulged in to fulfill illicit demands. If we can practice accepting only remnants of food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya's victimization. Vegetables, grains, fruits, milk products, and water are proper foods to offer to the Lord, as Lord Krishna himself prescribes. However, if one accepts prasada only because of its palatable taste and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasada. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with the intention of eating such nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. If we accept the invitation of a rich man with the idea of receiving palatable food, we are also trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya, chapter 6, text 227, it is stated,
जिह्वार लालसे ये इति उतिधाय हिष्णोदर परायण कृष्ण नाही पाय.
that person who runs here and there, seeking to gratify his palate, and who is always attached to the desires of his stomach and genitals is unable to attain Krishna. As stated before, the tongue, belly, and genitals are all situated in a straight line, and they fall in the same category. Lord Chaitanya has said, Bhalana khaibe, ara bhalana paribe. Do not dress luxuriously and do not eat delicious foodstuffs. Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya, chapter 6, text 236. Those who suffer from diseases of the stomach must be unable to control the urges of the belly, at least according to this analysis. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. However, if we observe fasting days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami, we can restrain the demands of the belly. As far as the urges of the genitals are concerned, there are 2, proper and improper, or legal and illicit sex. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to the rules and regulations of the Shastras and use his genitals for begetting nice children. That is legal and religious. Otherwise, he may adopt many artificial means to satisfy the demands of the genitals, and he may not use any restraint. When one indulges in illicit sex life, as defined by the Shastras, either by thinking, planning, talking about, or actually having sexual intercourse, or by satisfying the genitals by artificial means, he is caught in the clutches of Maya. These instructions apply not only to householders, but also to Tyagis, or those who are in the renounced order of life. In his book, Prema Vivarta, chapter 7, Sri Jagadananda Pandita says,
वैरागी भाय ग्राम्य कथा ना शुनिबे काने ग्राम्य वार्ता ना कहिबे यबे मिलबे आने स्वप्ने ओ ना कर भाई स्त्री संभाषण गृहे स्त्री छाड़िया भाई आसिया छवन यदि चाह प्रणय राखिते गौरांगेर सने छोट हरिदासेर कथा था के ये न मने भालना खाइबे यार भालना परिबे हृदये ते राधा कृष्ण सर्वदा सेविबे.
My dear brother, you are in the renounced order of life and should not listen to talk about ordinary worldly things. Nor should you talk about worldly things when you meet with others. Do not think of women even in dreams. You have accepted the renounced order of life with above that forbids you to associate with women. If you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must always remember the incident of Chota Haridasa and how he was rejected by the Lord. Do not eat luxurious dishes or dress in fine garments, but always remain humble and serve their lordships, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, in your heart of hearts. The conclusion is that one who can control these 6 items, speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, is to be called a Swami or Goswami. Swami means master, and Goswami means master of the go or senses. When one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This does not mean that he is the master of his family, community, or society. He must be master of his senses. Unless one is master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami, but Godasa, servant of the senses. Following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, all Swamis and Goswamis should fully engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As opposed to this, the Godasas engage in the service of the senses or in the service of the material world. They have no other engagement. Prahalada Maharaja has further described the Godasa as Adantago, which refers to one whose senses are not controlled. An Adantago cannot become a servant of Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 30, Prahalada Maharaja has said,
Matirna Krishne parataha svato va mitho bhipadyena grihauradhanam adantago bhirvishatam tamisram punaha punascharvita charvananam.
For those who have decided to continue their existence in this material world for the gratification of their senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious, not by personal endeavor, by instruction from others, or by joint conferences. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed.